Hi everyone. Today I want to chat about something super interesting, and that is the construct of time and its involvement in the self-healing process. So, something that we first need to understand is that time is a human construct. It is a human man-made thing. What we call time is just one of the ways that the universe works, right? It is not, it is given. It is just, it's just there. It's not something that we can quantify or something that we can try and condense and take ourselves outside of to be able to study. Because humans see time as having a beginning and an end. And this means that we see time in a very linear way, meaning backwards and forwards, past and present and future, right? There's a beginning and an end. When in actual fact, time is not linear. Time has no bounds. It is actually multidimensional and carries across time and space in all directions. And that means that the concepts of past, present, future are also human constructs, right? But they do exist. So understanding them through words is limiting, but knowing that they exist is something that we have to be aware of, because the present moment is always now. It is always existing. But your past self and your future self are connected to your present self. They are always connected. They are never separated. And so every time you make a decision, you are readjusting your future timeline. And what do I mean about timeline? So timelines are basically the trajectory in which your life will take, the certain narrative or story or direction that your life will take. So there are infinite timelines, infinite possibilities, infinite futures. And that means that every time you make a decision, you are readjusting your current self with a new future timeline. I know this sounds a little bit complicated, but just bear with me because it's not that hard to understand. And so in the present moment, knowing that time is an illusion, you know that you are always connected to your future self, the infinite version of your future self. There are infinite versions of who you could be in the future based on your decisions and actions in the present, right? But there is also your past self. And so the past is static, whereas the future is open-ended. The future is fluid. And so it is your present that determines the nature of your past and your future. But your past and your future always have an impact on you in the present. It is important to remember this, because the way time actually works is that time is always present. Time is always now. And so the past version of you lives within you, within your body, within your mind, within your psyche. But the future version of you also lives within you now, within your present version of self. There is the potential for your future self within you. And so that's why I say every single decision you make in your present determines your future state, your future direction, your future outcome of life, right? So when we understand that time is a construct, especially when it comes to personal healing, we can start to understand that the issues and traumas that we faced as children can still impact us in the present. The childhood version of you still lives on within you. They haven't gone away. They have just evolved into who you are in the present. So your childhood self is still alive within you, within your psyche. And so if we are not going to therapy and doing the necessary shadow work on and inner child healing, then we are going to be subconsciously affected by what happened to us in the past. Because we will, in our conscious mind, just say, oh no, that was 10 years ago. How could it impact me now? I'm over it. And that is something that your ego is actually saying to your conscious mind in order to protect you. Because a lot of the time, what happens is our brains will try to forget stuff that was hard, challenging, harmful, traumatic, whatever it may be. Your brain, your conscious brain will suppress and push that memory down to the very depths of your brain, of your subconscious mind. But the thing is, our subconscious mind rules 95% of our daily life, of our daily actions, our daily decisions. 95%. That is a very, very, very high number. And so if you are acting out old patterning, old trauma, old self-sabotaging behavior from your subconscious, you are in fact a slave to your past and a slave to your trauma. Because even if you may not consciously be trying to repeat that, that is what your subconscious mind is doing. Because basically, our subconscious will try to reenact, replay what happened to us in the past so that we can pretty much keep ourselves in victim mentality. And this is the shadow side of the ego. It exists, well, it's a part of the ego that exists called the pain body. And the pain body basically wants to keep itself alive. The pain body is the part of you that actually gets a kick, a dopamine kick from repeating your trauma, from reenacting what happened to you as a child. And the part of you that is repeating this is basically trying to prove to your conscious and subconscious mind that the self-limiting beliefs of no one loves me and I'm not good enough and, you know, poor me are worth your while. You know, they have a place, you know. So if you repeat a situation that confirms those self-limiting beliefs, then your conscious mind is going to allow those self-limiting beliefs to stay active within your consciousness, right? Because you see that they are there for a reason, because they confirm a truth. And this is our brain's way of operating. Our brain basically works to confirm its own truth and to confirm its own patterning, to repeat patterning. Our brain seeks patterns. So if we are not doing the necessary work on our nervous system to reprogram our trauma, to reprogram our subconscious, we are always going to keep repeating these trauma cycles, because we are still, a part of our subconscious is still stuck in the past, is still stuck when you were a helpless child and you couldn't defend yourself. And a part of your subconscious wants to be able to repeat these situations to, first of all, confirm, and second of all, to try exit. So there's a part of you that's trying to confirm the self-sabotaging negative pattern, negative trauma loop, And there is also a light part of you. So this is your shadow self that's trying to keep you stuck in victim. And then you have your light self, your positive side, if you want to call it that, that is trying to repeat the trauma so that you can, with a more mature point of view, a more mature emotional landscape, choose to go through that trauma loop and exit it through an informed decision, through a conscious action, through, a conscious choice to change your direction, to change your momentum. And you can only change your momentum if you are not attached to what happened to you. But the thing is, your trauma lives in the very fabric of your cells. It lives in the structure of your body. It lives in the muscle fibers of your system. And so the only way that we can fully let go of trauma is through embodiment. It's through expression with the body. And in that way, we can start to actually merge timelines together and start to take a more controlled direction of our life. Because you cannot change your past, and you cannot choose your future, but you can only impact your present. And the secret actually is that your present is where the power is. Your present is how you change your life in the now moment. Your decisions today will impact your fate tomorrow. And that is how we start working with time for us, rather than seeing time as being against us. It is so important to allow all of that suppressed memory and emotion from the past to come up to the surface. And that's what I actually believe that your subconscious is trying to do when you start to reenact old trauma cycles and trauma loops. Is your subconscious is trying to bring up all the suppressed emotions to the surface of your consciousness so that you can work with it on a more conscious, malleable level. Because it's very hard to work with something when it's buried very deeply. Just like it's very hard to, see underground. Just like it's very hard for humans to breathe deep underwater with all that pressure and force of gravity pushing down on you. So it's easier to transform something and work with it when you allow it to come to the surface. Because when you experience a trigger, that is your past self coming to the surface. That is all those emotions that have been suppressed from past traumas trying to come to the surface so that they can be released and you can exit the trauma loop. If you found this video helpful, give a comment below. Let me know how you found it, how interesting you find these chats, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.